My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. All right, welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to dig into an awesome topic. So, when is enough enough? Okay, so a little context with this is I see women struggle and struggle and struggle, thus the name of this podcast. And personally, if I was being completely transparent and completely honest myself, I have struggled. And even myself, I've had to just draw the line and say, whoa, no more struggle. I cannot do this anymore. But listen, here's the deal. Life flies by so fast. Life can be done in an instant. Life is so much better when we feel good about ourselves. So when is enough enough? Only you can decide on this. But here's the deal. When you decide and you move forward relentlessly towards your goal, it is amazing. The opportunities, the exciting times, the things that are just ready to burst and happen, you just didn't realize it. So let's dig into this topic. So when is enough enough? How much more pain can you truly endure? Now, I don't want to find out. You don't want to find out. But the wild thing is we do. We do find out. We figure out, just when we feel like we can't handle anymore, then something else happens. Or does it, right? Is that a program? Is that our subconscious mind saying, I'm bad luck, or I always, don't stick around me, bad things happen around me. These are self-proclaimed programs that you don't even realize that you're placing on yourself. Language is really, really important. Your thoughts, everything that you feel, all matters and all impacts the outcome. So hang with me on this, but I want you to understand that if you're feeling the feels around making change in your life. Now, obviously, this podcast, I'm all about weight loss, all about women feeling good in their own skin. But as you know, these topics are so multidimensional. You can use this in so many different areas of your life. And so ask yourself really difficult questions saying, am I settling? Am I just hanging on to something because it's easier to stay the same? So here's what I'm going to tell you. The funny thing is, and I know this in my coaching program, that 3rd week is everything. When someone first gets in the program, they're super excited. Okay, I invested in myself. Okay, here's the nuts and bolts. Here's how I'm going to get through this. And reasonably speaking, we get after it. Week 2 goes by and you're yes, stacking some wins. You're feeling really good. By week 3, typically something has happened. Something has happened personally. Something's happened at work. It's not as exciting. The scale maybe doesn't move. And that's when we start to really settle in going, oh my God, this kind of sucks. And so I know this, and I know this after coaching, hundreds, close to touching thousands of women. And it's just wild because we have to see this through long enough. The funny thing about this is we've had our whole life, or some of us, struggling to lose this weight. Yet we want to give up after only 3 weeks. It's very, very fascinating to me because we would rather go back to doing our old behaviors than take the harder path. And I'm using air quotes on the harder because it's really not harder, but what we perceive to be harder. And we won't stick through things long enough. It's really no different too when it comes to someone's goal, maybe financially or, just anything that you're trying to progress yourself in life. Like, it is so much easier to just go back to what we've done before. So I'm here to present the question to you, when is enough enough? When are you just going to choose to win? When are you going to choose that life is really, really amazing? When are you going to decide that only good things come your way? Now, I know that kind of sounds funny, especially if someone has been in struggle. Even saying it myself, sometimes I'm like, really, Arin? Really? But I have to remind myself of this stuff on a daily basis that, man, good things happen and even better things happen. We can win or win bigger. That was a statement from my mentor. And I was just like, wait, what? Because I was a big go big or go home. Like, I was like, we got to lay all the cards out or we just got to go home and tuck our tails. And it was interesting because he said, win or win bigger. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Because everything that we do in life, there doesn't have to be a trade-off. The trade-off doesn't have to be negative either. So we can lose weight easily and effortlessly. Several of you have heard me say that multiple times, but here's the deal. Here's what happens is life does hand it to us at the most interesting times in our life, or is it, right? And get frustrated. There's maybe confusion. Maybe we've had illness, and it's like we're so quick to just go right back to the old patterns, even if those old patterns don't serve us and we know that. It's no different than a drunk going right back to alcohol or, an addict going back to a hit. I mean, it's just none of this is different. And in our head, we can't even imagine. We can't imagine, someone who got themselves clean, maybe they got themselves clean for a duration of time. We just cannot imagine how they would ever go back. But that's the same thing in weight loss. And I see this, and it really breaks my heart when a woman will lose all this weight. She's done such an amazing job, and then life hands it to her. Things get a little bit hard, or she can't seem to get through a plateau, and then all of a sudden it's like, to hell with it, and we're right back where we started, if not worse. So what I want to dig into is, okay, when you finally decide enough is enough, then what? What happens? So for most of us, we've had to change who we are. You have to truly get deeper into, who am I as a person? And sometimes you cannot see her. Yes, you can say objectively, I need to lose X weight on the scale. I need to weigh this. This is a healthy weight. I want to be this number in clothing, whatever. And we can objectively say that. But then what has to happen is we have to start believing that we are that woman. We have to walk like her. We have to talk like her. We have to think like her. That's what I want to dig into is, how do you think like someone that you are currently not today? Here's the most eye-opening part about it is you're going to fight yourself. You're going to fight yourself on a regular basis of, can I really do this? I really want that cookie. I don't feel like walking today. Oh my God, it'd be easier not to do that workout. You're going to constantly fight those battles. The best thing you can do is acknowledge that voice that you still hear, and you just go, hey girl, we're not her anymore. Hey girl, I hear you, I acknowledge you, but I'm actually going to go ahead and do those steps even though I don't feel like it, because I know this is what my future self would want me to do. I know that sounds silly to talk through it like that, but it's going to make so much more sense when you see yourself stacking the days, the weeks, the months, the years, and you just become this person. I say a lot of times to clients, and just when I know someone is losing weight, I say, listen, we're not going to have to pass up, the yummy whatever that they brought into the office, or you're not going to have to not have Halloween candy or whatever. And pretty soon, when you're out of weight loss, you're not even going to desire it. First off, there's that. I think it's just so funny. Like, I just literally purchased a bag of candy for Halloween here. And I was just laughing because I was like, I don't even desire it, which is really weird. But I also picked like Smarties because let's just be honest. I mean, they're fine, but I'm not going to just. Now, if it was a Reese cup, y'all, I would be in that bag. So you do want to think about that. But it's just, it's who I am. I'm not going to sit there and eat a whole bag of Hershey Kisses like I used to. I used to drown my sorrows in a bag of Hershey Kisses and watch like 50 episodes of Sex and the City, like old school DVDs. I don't even think we have a DVD player anymore, but it's so wild to me what we thought was going to help us in that moment. And all it does is make us feel worse. So I want you to think into the future you when you finally say, okay, I've had it. This is enough. I want to get my you-know-what together. And this is in any aspect of life. This could be in your relationships. This could be in your finances. This could be in your career. Specifically speaking into weight loss, what I know with weight loss is it doesn't have to be something that we just wish and hope and pray for. It can happen, and it can happen very, very quickly. Just ask any of my clients who have worked with me for a year. Ask them, how was that last year? They're going to say, there were some difficult times, but man, there were a lot of really easy moments. And I will tell you that weight loss happens very, very quickly when you just make that decision that like, hey, you know what? I got this. And every time life happens, you lean on your support system, you lean on your coach. It's important for us to understand that you don't ever have to walk any of these challenges alone. I know that I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have the coaches and mentors and guides that have helped me really get where I am today and where I'm going, right? Like I will always, it's so funny because I'm always like looking into, okay, where am I going to invest here? And it's just a part of our budget. It's part of what we'll always do to help mentor and guide us because we've got big goals and we've got big things that we want to do. And so I think when it comes to weight loss, you have to have that moment where you just draw the line and you have to throw away the old. You have to really dig into nuts and bolts going, okay, what is it reasonably going to take to lose weight? Now, we all know it is going to come down to your food. You absolutely have to pay attention to your food. Then you have to move your body. There's an appropriate fashion towards it. And I have very strong feelings towards just simply walking. And then doing progressive resistance training is extremely important. You got to sleep. And the thing that's always interesting to me is everyone wants to blame hormones, but here's the deal. Hormones typically get out of whack because of the additional weight on our body. It is, and nobody talks about this. Everybody wants to blame menopause. Everyone wants to blame, oh, my hormones are jacked. And listen, I was there too, so I can 100% speak on this. And the wild thing is we are prescribing different hormones. And I have watched woman after woman. Now, here's the thing. I am not against hormone replacement. Like there's definitely time and space for it, but you have to address the lifestyle changes first. Cannot just try to tweak hormones when the body. And so here's the thing is nobody understands exactly what adipose tissue or fat tissue, like just the everyday person doesn't understand what happens when you have more adipose tissue, especially for a woman. Then you're going to have more testosterone in your body. You can see facial hair, things like that. We label PCOS as like, if you have that, oh my gosh, you're never going to be able to lose weight, which is not true. So it's just kind of interesting to me how we want to blame everything else, where if you could just take 30 days and get hyper focused. That's the problem, is we don't get focused in long enough to truly see our results. We have such a short attention span that in weight loss, you cannot have, and I'm saying true weight loss, like when you're doing this and you're doing this in a way for life, you have to stick with it for the long run if you're truly going to make change and you're not going to go back to your old ways. The weird thing about our society is we have just gotten accustomed to being overweight, that obesity is normal and fine, and it's not. There's sometimes when I'm walking around different stores or, especially when we travel, and I just see people and I'm like, dang, how do you move your body like that? Like that's got to be painful. And a lot of people are in pain. A lot of people don't feel well on a daily basis. And I'm like, dang, it's just terrible. And so many things can be prevented or wouldn't get as bad if we just simply took care of ourselves. What's wild, though, is how many different things we have to stay guarded against, even our drinking water. Even our drinking water has different stuff in it that is promoting to lower testosterone. And there's just the additives, the preservatives, the things that are in our food that you just don't even realize are in there. That's the stuff that gets me, because it's like, man, you had no idea. And everybody's trying to do the best they can with the resources they have. For most women, they don't even know how much sodium is in food, especially if you dine out. I don't know why we have to just load things. Well, I do know. First off, it makes it taste better. People want more. You're going to drink more. Like there's so much that goes into why our food is so salty, and it drives me batty, almost to the point where we hardly eat out. So there's a lot of confusion when it comes to all these things. Should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm going to tell you, when you've finally decided that, hey, enough is enough, then you got to break it down and keep it simple. Anytime you want to make weight loss hard, like check yourself hard. And you got to ask yourself, have I done enough days consecutively? Have I made enough changes? If you have been on a weight loss journey for a while and maybe you find yourself like it's slowing down, you're getting stuck, this is where I'm telling you that you have gotten yourself to this spot. We're going to have to consider some things a little bit differently to get you to the next spot. Sometimes it's just reducing the carb intake. Sometimes we've had a few too many gimmies here and there, and that's okay. Like I think it's called figuring out what works for you. Like I know myself personally, like where I sit on a daily basis is very comfortable. It's very easy. But if I know that I'm going to be in a bathing suit, then it's like, okay, I'll pull it down just a little bit. And it's very, very little tweaks that I do to my nutrition. Nothing else changes. I don't work out differently. I don't do any more steps. It's just literally comes back to nutrition. So my question for you today is, have you drawn that line in the sand? Have you said enough? Have you said enough to the struggle that you have personally been feeling, whether it's in your business, whether it's in finances, career, your relationship. Draw the line. Say it's enough. But here's the next part. Know what you want. Know what you want. Then reverse engineer. What is it going to take to get there? Everything is literally that simple, yet we make life so freaking hard. All we have to do is decide that we want change, know what we want. That's another wild one. I'm so shocked when people don't know what they want. It's just really, really an interesting thing. So know what you want and then align your actions. Ask yourself on a daily basis, did I move myself closer to my goal? Or what have I been doing to not hit my goal? That's a really, really powerful question. What am I not doing to hit my goal? You know, and it's funny when you can check yourself and you can ask yourself objectively and you're just like, oh, dang, okay, I got this. I can do this. And this is where I have to have these pep talks with myself too. So I hope you guys laugh because I do take all of this stuff personally and do it on a daily basis. I don't walk around, everything is just easy peasy all the time. Now, I will say I've had a much clearer head since just removing so many old stories, so many old programs that just didn't serve me. My anxiety is so much lower, and I will attribute that to cold plunging as well. But it's just wild when you can pull out the chatter, when you can pull out the things that just don't serve you on a daily basis. And all you do is you just get relentlessly focused on what it is that you want and the actions that align to what you want. It's literally that simple. Anything we can break down to being that simple. So ask yourself, when is enough enough? And here's the deal. You can't do this for someone else. You can only do it for yourself. If you have loved ones that you want desperately to get healthier, do not pressure them because you're doing this. Be the role model, okay? Be the role model that you desire to be. If you've got, a little bit older of kids, don't need to pressure them, but you can show them and guide them saying, hey, here's what I'm doing and here's why I'm doing it. So many times parents will come to me and they'll say, well, so-and-so is putting on a little bit of weight. And I'm like, no, you need to take care of you first, and then that child will mimic you. So say it's enough, guys. Say it's enough, and I want you to move forward with lightning speed towards the things that you desire. Go get them.